Good morning. Today is Monday, September 9th. This is Wake Up with KERA News. Hi there, I'm Andrew Garcia. The weather today is going to be mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. Let's hope we're truly seeing the beginnings of that cooler fall weather. In a moment, we'll hear how housing status and other factors leave trans people vulnerable to violence. First, the news to start your week. A new poll from the Charles Butt Foundation found that nearly 80% of teachers have seriously considered leaving their jobs in the last year. That's up from 58% who gave that same answer when the poll was first administered in 2020. 77% of the 1,100 teachers polled said they aren't making a living wage. The median wage is about $5,000 less than teachers were being paid in 2020, according to the foundation. A state-funded reproductive health clinic is under construction in southern New Mexico. The clinic will not only service locals, but to make abortion access easier for people in neighboring states like Texas and Oklahoma. Its construction is part of the governor's commitment to strengthening abortion access after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Earlier this summer, a 20-year-old trans woman named Dylan Gurley was murdered in Denton. She was also experiencing homelessness. Police say the crime was motivated by money rather than hate, but research shows trans people are 4 times more likely to experience violence compared to their cisgender counterparts. And experts say gender identity and homelessness compound the violent victimization of transgender people. Brooke Colombo has been reporting on this issue for the Denton Record Chronicle, and she spoke with KERA's Becca Moore.
Brooke, what can you tell us about Dylan and about this case?
So, some people that my colleague spoke to who knew her said that she went by Girly, and she would have just been about to celebrate her 21st birthday in a few weeks. She was native to Arlington, and she had more recently lived in Little Elm. And so her family's publicly spoken about how difficult her death has been for them and how they're grieving how much life she had left to live, especially given the circumstances of her death. So what we know about her case is that the medical examiners ruled her case a homicide, and Denton police charged a man named Michael Tooley with her murder. The offense took place in an abandoned building off of North Loop 288, which is near the local homeless shelter. And both Gurley and the man that was charged were experiencing homelessness at the time.
As you know, there tends to be a stigma around homelessness. Some people associate it with crime, but that's not always the case, right?
Absolutely. So I go over a lot of police reports here in Denton, which has a high homeless population in comparison to other places in the county. And there are people experiencing homelessness here who have criminal histories, and then there's others that don't. And a local expert told me homelessness is inherently dangerous for the person experiencing it. So they're also victims of crimes sometimes. And the perpetrators of those crimes might be people experiencing homelessness, but sometimes they're not experiencing homelessness. So there's really no broad stroke that you can paint people experiencing homelessness with.
Is there a reason why people who are trans or gender nonconforming experience homelessness at higher rates?
There are several reasons, and what I've seen advocates say is that they pretty much boil down to stigma and prejudice. Maybe they're having a hard time securing a rental because of prejudice on the landlord's part, or it's hard to obtain a job for the same reason, and so they can't afford housing. They may have a decent job, but they face stigma from colleagues and couldn't stay in the job. Or maybe just the people that they had been living with wouldn't accept them. So there's a lot of possible roadblocks, and if and when they do experience homelessness, their identity in of itself is already marginalized, and they experience, higher rates of violence. So that just all compounds with the danger of experiencing homelessness. And so if interventions or resources were available prior to or during their homelessness, it would hopefully circumvent the compounded danger.
And before we wrap up, I want to ask, what kinds of those resources are available in Denton County?
So we have the Denton County Homeless Coalition here, which is tasked with ensuring other local organizations are working together to provide those wraparound resources for people experiencing homelessness. And those resources include like shelter, food, transportation, job assistance, mental and physical health support, family assistance, anything and everything. And that's important because I think if we want to curb crimes involving people experiencing homelessness, whether that's their offenders or their victims, providing resources to end homelessness is at the root of that issue.
That was the Denton Record Chronicle's Brooke Colombo speaking with KERA's Becca Moore. In Dallas sports updates, the Cowboys claimed victory over the Cleveland Browns yesterday, 33-17. Proving to be a strong start for Dallas and their two newly contracted megastars, $35 million a year wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and $60 million a year quarterback Dak Prescott. That contract now makes Prescott the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. You can see the exhibit Flowers for the Living at the Latino Cultural Center now through the end of October. The art exhibition features flowers made of cobijas, or felt blankets, each representing the family of a victim of a mass shooting. For more information, visit kera.org/calendar. Thanks again for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. This show was produced and edited by Shardae White and Becca Moore. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter and get more good morning vibes from our colleague, Catherine Hobbs. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at KERATX, and we'll see you tomorrow.